All right. Well, like I said, this week I'm talking about Scotland, more specifically Scotland fans, soccer fans, football fans, and a little bit of the Japanese fans in there as well. And so this sounds mixing Scottish and Japanese fans sounds like a weird combination, but stick with me. Like I said, there is a business lesson, and there's a good chance you may know where this is going because it has gone absolutely viral, at least on my feeds. I'm pretty sure it's gone viral all over the country. But let me back up to last weekend. Kelly and I, and actually McKenna and her boyfriend Andrew, were in Williamsburg, Virginia, this past weekend for a little getaway, long weekend. We spent one day. We spent one day walking through colonial Williamsburg, touring some of the historic buildings, listening to stories, and really learning about the founding of the U.S. And honestly, if you've never been there, it's pretty incredible. You should go. You spend the day thinking about history, tradition, identity, and things that connect people across generations. Then the very next day, I'm sitting in our hotel bar watching Scotland play their first World Cup and their first one in 28 years. So it was 1998. No, yes, 1998, I believe, the last time they were in the World Cup. Then a couple days later, my social media feed just goes absolutely crazy with videos from Boston, which is where the first Scotland match took place. Thousands, tens of thousands, I think, of Scots marching through the streets, bagpipers leading parades, fans singing songs in the streets and drinking the bars and pubs dry. The entire city of Boston turned into one giant celebration. And if you saw them sing the national anthem before the game, my goodness, it would give you chills. I don't care what country you're from, it would give you chills. Apparently, they hit 125 decibels, which is technically a volume that can become dangerous to your hearing. It's right below what the takeoff is like on a jumbo jet. They weren't just singing it, they were absolutely belting it with passion. And they won the match 1-0. And that night, the Boston bars were absolutely overrun in a good way. And you could see and hear the Scots celebrating in the streets till all hours. Then, even more amazing, and I'm getting to the business lesson in a second, but even more amazing, they all went to Fenway Park to watch the Red Sox play the next night, and the Scots did not disappoint. The stadium welcomed them by playing popular Scottish songs, and you would, if you close your eyes, you wouldn't think you were at a baseball game. You'd think you were at a soccer match with all of the chants that were going on all throughout the game. The Americans loved it, are still loving it, but I think they were slightly in shock and didn't know how to respond. And what's entertained me the most wasn't the soccer match. It's been the reaction from Americans in the following days. I've seen video after video of Americans saying, I had no idea Scots were like this, or please never leave Boston. Or one funny one was protect Scots at all costs. But one stuck with me. And it was a Scottish fan that was asked by a reporter or someone why they came. And he said, we're not here to break things. We're not here to fight. We're here to sing, dance, and have a great time and party. And I love that because the Scots didn't become beloved in Boston because they've followed some viral marketing strategy. They became beloved because they showed up as themselves, kilts, bagpipes, face paint, and all. I even just this morning saw a video where there's a guy who's trying to get a Scottish statue of a man in a kilt commissioned and installed permanently in Boston to commemorate what's happened over the past week. It has about not a crazy amount, but it's got about 3,000 signatures so far. And I read through a lot of the comments of the people that signed, And it was pretty much all Americans, and 100% of them saying, "We 1000% approve this." And then just literally just earlier today, this morning, the governor of Massachusetts, just signed and declared haggis to be legalized in the state. I didn't even know haggis was illegal, but there was a law passed back in the early 70s in the US outlawing it basically. And the more I've watched these reaction videos, the more I realize this isn't really about soccer. It's about identity. It's about people proudly expressing who they are and where they're from. And then there's the Japanese fans. If you've never seen this, after the match is over, many, if not all, of the Japanese supporters stay behind and clean the stadium. They literally bring their own trash bags, not because someone tells them to, not because they're getting paid, but out of respect. Respect for the players, respect for the stadium, for the host country, and even respect for the event itself. Now, on the surface, those two groups couldn't be more different. The Scots are marching through the streets behind bagpipes, singing at the top of their lungs. The Japanese are quietly picking up trash after the game. Completely different behavior, but underneath, they're actually doing the same thing. They're expressing who they are. And that's why the US and the world has noticed them. And I think there's a lesson in that for marketing. Because one of the questions I've been asked for almost 20 years now is, what should I post? What's the algorithm doing? What's trending? How do I get more engagement? How do I get more followers? And those aren't bad questions, but I think a lot of people skip a more important one. Who are you? The Japanese didn't earn respect because they hired a PR agency. They earned respect because they behaved according to values that were already important to them. And I think that's where a lot of professionals get stuck on social media, sales professionals. They spend so much time trying to figure out what works and they forget to figure out who they are. They see someone energetic and entertaining and think, maybe I should do that. Maybe I should copy that. Then they see someone educational and analytical and think, maybe I should do that. Then they see someone TikTok doing dances on TikTok, and hopefully, gosh, those things irk me, but hopefully they don't do that. But you get the point. They start chasing tactics instead of building an identity. And the funny thing is, the people who build the strongest brands rarely look the same. Some are funny, some are serious, some are educators, storytellers, some are loud, some are quiet. The common thread isn't their content, it's their consistency. You know who they are. And I think that's why Americans fell in love with the Tartan army this past week, not because they were trying to impress anyone, not because they were chasing attention, but because they were unmistakably Scottish. The Japanese fans were unmistakably Japanese. And in a world where everyone seems to be copying everyone else, there's something refreshing about people who know exactly who they are. Whether you're building a country or a culture or community or even your own personal brand, identity becomes before tactics. Because at the end of the day, the strongest brands aren't built by chasing attention, they're built by being unmistakably themselves.